Still good though. But wait,
I
okay,
was
show me what you can show me of the car.
okay. So yeah, I can't get out of my seat because I have to be buckled up with my meat belt for safety first. But I'll show you my views from Shotgun. Or how do you flip the camera? I am a boomer. Oh, there it is. There it is. So these are my views. Wyoming, you can't really tell, but there are like mountains back here. So here we have our bun box. In there are like a bunch of like snacks, and we have our famous weenie whistles, which we've been giving out since 1952. Oh, some masks as well, but here's a weenie whistle. So we stay
So
strapped with a
cool.
bunch of those at all times. We have I have a bunch of stuff in the cup holders. It's pretty messy, so I won't show you all of that. But then, so we have our 6 seats in the back. It's basically like a bus. We have, or 4 seats in the back rather. And so then we have a nice little walkway. So it's very spacious inside. As you can see, all of our luggage is here because it's our drive day. So we each have like multiple suitcases and our like hot dog duffel bags that are just full of like Oscar Mayer merchandise.
That's
And then
awesome.
that back door there is a closet. So the back like 10 feet are storage. So yeah, it's honestly super roomy, super spacious. Up above we have our blue skies because it's always a blue skies day in the Wienermobile. And our bun roof, which is my favorite part. I like to stand out of there during like parades and stuff.
That's
So
sick. Wow, this is
yeah, that's pretty much it.
literally crazy. So I have like a bunch of questions for you, but
Yeah.
it was just so wild because I think it was like maybe a month ago or 2 months ago now, started talking about this is what you were going to be doing, being a hot dogger. And I was like, wow, like this job is so sick. Look this up, like see what this is about. And it was so funny because right after I started looking it up, I think it was Barstool Sports was like, oh, Oscar Mayer is looking for hot doggers, but like 7 months late to whenever they were actually looking for hot doggers. And then it
Yeah.
was so crazy because I was like, oh my God, there's only 12 of them. And I know one of the people that's going to be a hot dogger. So my friends were saying, isn't this the craziest, most awesome job during the pandemic? And I was like, I know one of the girls. Like I was in Florence, Italy with this girl. And then now she's going to get to be a hot dogger during the pandemic, which is one of the best jobs because you get to travel now all over the country, literally bringing smiles to people going through hard times right now during the pandemic. There's still something to be really excited about. Life is still great. Make the most of what you can. And I just think what you do is like awesome. What you're getting to do is so special. I think people would like, want to know about this, especially to maybe apply for it in the future. So like basically what I want to talk about in this interview, what is the job? What have you done so far? What are you looking forward to? So I don't know, like I'm really, really excited to hear what you have to say because I honestly feel like you have one of the best jobs in the entire world in 2020. So I think what people would want to know first off is what is Oscar Mayer for like the people that don't know what it is.
Right. Okay. So Oscar Mayer started in the early 1900s in Chicago, and they started out as like a meat business, you know, like meat packing, and started making their like iconic hot dogs way back then. And the yellow band on the Oscar Mayer logo, I don't know if you can see it on my shirt / on the outside of the Wienermobile. It was meant to like signify quality. So like for however many years, Oscar Mayer has been known for its like quality meats. And so in 1936, Oscar Mayer's nephew, Carl Mayer, had this idea to create a hot dog on wheels, aka the Wienermobile, during the Great Depression to kind of bring smiles to Americans in a really tough time, which is very much akin to right now, 2020, bringing, Americans need to smile more than ever. And so, so Carl Mayer created the Wienermobile, and so we've pretty much been on the hot dog highway since then. The hot dogger program specifically, where there are 12 brand ambassadors for Oscar Mayer, which is what I'm one of 12, has been going since 1988 specifically. So I'm the 33rd class of hot doggers.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's been amazing so far.
That's great. So now what is a hot dogger and what do you do as your position?
Yeah, so as I kind of said a second ago, a hot dogger is basically a brand ambassador for Oscar Mayer, and our job, we are contracted for a year to drive the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, like crisscross the hot dog highways of America on a year-long coast-to-coast weenie roast. So essentially, we are driving across the country in the Wienermobile, going to events and meeting people and making people smile. Like that's our main mission, is to deliver miles of smiles. Festivals to fairs, some pretty crazy stuff so far, like Gods in Colorado for a 5K, which is this beautiful park of, ancient rock. And then we also got to go to Red Rocks Amphitheater for a drive-in movie where we were like one of the cars at the drive-in vehicles, rather, not a car. We've gone to zoos, we've gone to anniversary parties. Of course, right now, everything we're doing is like socially distant and we're always wearing masks. And, we're trying to avoid like really close contact. But right now, given that the nature of many events across the US are like outside events, it's working out really well. So we've been having lots of fun. Oh, we got to go to like this race, and we got to be the pace car for the race, which means we like drove in the Wienermobile around a racetrack, leading all the race cars behind us. And that is like not something I would have thought was like top of my bucket list, but now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, check that off. Like that was such a crazy life experience.
How many people can say they've ever done that? Like a one-of-a-kind experience. This whole job, every single thing that you post, this girl is living the coolest day ever every single day. Actually insane. I know, I've heard there's like thousands of applicants, so I know it's an honor to be selected. Congrats to you, because that's very impressive.
Thank you.
Right before it started in January was when the hiring process started, right? It was kind of like,
yeah, I think that's when they start going to colleges. I applied in February and had my like final interview in mid-March via Zoom. Yeah. And then we were told that we got the position like late March, early April.
Yeah. So can you kind of tell me about the hiring process? Was it like you did an application and then they contacted you back for an interview, and was there a few interviews and then you kind of talked to them about being hired?
So the way it worked for me is they recruit heavily at my university, the University of Missouri, because it's like a big journalism school. Mm-hmm. And so they do a tour of like colleges in the winter. That's a big part of like being a hot dogger in the winter, is going to visit different colleges for recruitment. And so in order to get a first round interview, you had to go to the info session. Okay. So I remember the first one was actually canceled because of snow, which is crazy because I was in Missouri. But so I went to the info session, fell in love with the position immediately, and you had to give them your resume and got called back for an interview for the next morning. And so when I got the call back, I was like, okay, sweet. Like first interview, this could maybe be something. But of course, everyone else who was applying had such impressive resumes. I knew some of the people applying. I was like, there's no way they're going to that I'll stand out. But I did my first round interview and then waited about a month to get an email. And I remember I was sitting in my boss's office at the time, like where I worked at school, when I got the email that said, we're flying you to Chicago for a second interview. And I let out a word that I probably shouldn't say around my boss. and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I got a second round interview. This is amazing. I was so excited. I could not believe it. And so then they fly you, typically you go to Chicago to the Kraft Heinz headquarters for your second round interview. Mine, however, was right at the beginning of, quarantine stuff. So we ended up doing it on Zoom, which was still awesome because I got a chance to meet some of my future coworkers. Actually, 2 of my future coworkers were in my Zoom interview, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. So did it over Zoom and then waited another maybe month, 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not really sure. And then got a call from my now boss who was like, hey, we think you'd be great. And oh my gosh, when I got the call, I was laying in bed. I shot out of bed, started pacing in my room as I was talking to him. And then I hung up the phone, ran out to my roommate. I was like, dude, I'm going to be a hot dogger. So it was such a great moment. It was such a bright spot in quarantine.
Say? What was the first thing that they said?
Oh God, it varied a lot. So I did a group FaceTime of my best friends at home. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, guys, everything's kind of uncertain right now. Everyone's future is uncertain, but I just got a little bit of clarity on mine. And then I walked out of frame, put on a hot dog suit, walked back into frame. And they were like, God. Oh my God. So that was fun. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this job is because my grandmother, when she was 22, she traveled across the country for a month for National Hot Dog Month in July, handing out gold-plated hot dogs to senators, actors, Hollywood people, and so we always knew her as the wiener lady growing up. So I knew that the Wiener Wheel program was a thing, and I was like, I want to drive the Wiener Wheel and be just like my grandma and drive across America talking about hot dogs.
So she did the same thing that you're doing right now.
It was with a different company, but she was still a hot dog lady. She still literally drove across the US talking about hot dogs. And I was like, that is my job now. So
oh my God, if you ever have kids one day, they're gonna have to do the same thing. Literally the same.
I know.
It
It's
needs,
gonna have to be a legacy thing.
yeah. Oh my God, no, they really
So
do.
like my dad was like, he's like, I never had any doubt. And I was like, yeah, you're my dad. Like, of course. But
It's the personality. It's I saw it in Florence, and me and this girl like barely know each other. We're already becoming like good friends. Seeing
yeah,
you on Instagram because I couldn't see you in person anymore. When we went back to the States, total sense as to why like she's a hot dogger. Like they're the best people ever. Reading other interviews, like reading what it takes to be a hot dogger, which I'd also love for you to tell, like, what do you think it takes to be a hot dogger? She's literally perfect. Like, this is exactly why they hired her. They need people that are smiling 100% of the time. And never was there a time in Florence I think you were ever not smiling. It
oh
totally
my
makes
gosh.
sense. But so yeah,
Thank you.
what do you think is what they look for when they look for hot doggers?
I think it's a little bit of everything. You know, obviously I'll never know the secret to the hiring process, but I think that they definitely look for somebody. They always say like someone with an appetite for fun and appetite for adventure, which is a pun, but it's also very, very true. And on the hiring materials, it also says like outgoing, ready for a year on the road. So as you know, obviously I studied abroad. I love moving around and trying new things, meeting people, having new experiences. So I think they look for somebody who has that kind of flexibility and that kind of like willingness to, pick up and leave and be on the road for a year, which is what we just started 6 weeks ago. So that kind of thing. And then just, I don't know, personality is what it comes down to. Maybe what's on your resume. Like I said, I don't know. I just feel so lucky to be one of the 12. And my other 11 coworkers are genuinely like the best people I've ever met in my life. Like they're so fun. Everyone is so supportive of each other because, it's just you and 11 other people going through the exact same thing that not many other people can relate to. So when I see my coworkers, it's very easy to be like, yes, I know exactly why you were hired. Like you're perfect for this. So I don't know. It's awesome. We're such a good group. We mesh so well together.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So you kind of got to know each other during the training session, which is called Hot Dog High, right? Can you kind of
It is indeed.
like, what Hot Dog High is, university, what is it?
So Hot Dog High is 2 weeks of just so much fun, but it's also like 2 weeks of work. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a training boot camp. We all get together in Madison, Wisconsin, which is where the Hot Dogger program is based out of. And we do 2 weeks of learning, what it takes to be a hot dogger, of course, how to drive the Wienermobile, and buns and buns and puns, big part of the curriculum. So, and then there's a lot of like behind the scenes responsibilities of being a hot dogger. Like every week we're media pitching to like get our story out there. We're doing a lot of social media, a lot of like maintenance, not us doing maintenance on the vehicle, but like obviously taking care of this massive vehicle that we are in charge of. So there's a lot that goes into being a hot dogger that people probably don't think about. Mm-hmm. So just learning how to do everything. But it was so fun. Like obviously we did a lot of team building as well. So it was a great way to get to know everyone before we split off in our respective parts of the US.
Hot dog? Like I feel like it's so dry. Like how is the training on that?
Well, okay, so first of all, no, I've never driven something quite this large. I don't think many people can say they have. But the training, we were trained by some like retired police officers who like have been doing this for years. So they knew exactly like how to train us. And yeah, it's not hard to drive. It's like driving a big van. You just kind of have to watch out for your corners when you turn. Yeah. And obviously like parking is a little bit different, but it's pretty manageable.
What cities have you gone to already? And are you planning on doing all major cities?
We've only done 2 cities so far because we kind of just started on July 26th is when we flew the coop, rather, I guess. So we were in Lincoln, Nebraska for 2 weeks, and then Denver, Colorado is where we left this morning, and we're on our way to Idaho Falls, Idaho. So the average hot dogger hits about 25 states during their tour during the whole year, I believe. So I'm looking at my partner for reference. 25 states for their whole year. And yeah, as far as big cities go, it kind of just depends on where we're at, what's most logical to drive to in a day's time or 2 days time sometimes. So our trajectory for the next few weeks is we'll go Idaho Falls, and then we'll go to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then Alamosa, Colorado, and then Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, then Kansas City, Missouri, and then back to Madison for like a fall staff meeting. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of bopping all over the place for the next few weeks. But then after that, I don't know. I mean, things can change on a dime, so we can suddenly be requested in a city for like a super fun event, and like go to that city. So it just depends on where the events are.
Well, I also have the question, what is it like during the pandemic and living life on the road?
So this year's obviously a little bit different. We're doing a lot more like community-based and like grassroots events. Like I mentioned that we'll do like birthday parties and anniversary things, or we'll go to like little like small farmers markets. So it's just a lot more of like, you know, finding the joy in everyday activities in the places that we visit. And of course we have all of our like personal protective things. Like we're always sanitizing, wearing masks, and maintaining social distance. So that's really the only thing that's changed Hotdogger year to this year. So we're still, you know, bringing miles of smiles, just a little bit different, a little bit more conscientious.
You're kind of in your own version of a tour bus. Crazy. Like, how is it
people ask us
staying at hotels and going and traveling to a new city all the time in a different state and meeting new people all the time?
It's like a dream. Like it can get really like, you know, tiring to pack up your life in a suitcase every few days or whatever. I mean, we've been doing 2 week stints though, so that's nice because we really get to settle in. But like, I mean, you know me, like I love to bop around and just like, you know, go to a new place all the time, because as much as I love Denver, I want to live in Denver someday. Leaving Denver was refreshing because it's like, okay, we're like going to see a new place. Like, let's go meet more people. Let's learn about the culture of this new state, new city. So I love it personally. I think it's, you know, the coolest opportunity ever. And I can just feel myself like soaking up all that I can, you know, all that I can in like the parts of the US that I've never seen and would have otherwise never come to.
The more I'm looking up like what a hot dogger does, like people were like, I came here, I've been seeing the hot doggers every year since I was a kid. There's always like little kids that are running up to you guys being, oh my God, like this is so exciting. Is it so crazy having people want to like take the picture of the car, vehicle, and with you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely feels kind of strange sometimes because you like, we'll be driving and we'll kind of forget that we're in the Wienermobile.
Yeah.
Be like, why are people honking at us? Like, did we do something wrong? So the coolest thing, honestly, is like the I remember when moments. We get a lot of like adults and older people who are like, oh my gosh, I remember seeing this when I was like 10. I have a whistle from 1974. Like, I love this thing so much. And so that's like those are some of the coolest experiences for us. But we do like to say that the Wienermobile is the celebrity and we're its bodyguards.
Yeah.
So like
great.
People will come up. We do have a lot of people who show a lot of interest in us. So like we've signed our fair share of autographs at this point, which is crazy. I'm like, I literally am from Woodstock, Illinois. Like, I don't know why I'm signing your autograph, but I'm glad that you want it. So,
and your hot dog
nuts.
Is ketchup.
Katie. That's my name for the year. And my partner's Relish Rachel. This is her. Oh. But like everyone comes up with an awesome name eventually. Like some of my favorites from our class are like Tommy Salami and Zack and Cheese and Barbecue. So everyone comes up with something eventually, and they're always awesome because we give like our top 3, and then our bosses are like, okay, these are good, like let's pick this one. So it's really fun. I mean, I knew I was going to be Ketchup Katie from the get-go. I was like, I can't be anything other than Ketchup Katie. So I was really glad that was my chosen name.
It's like a superhero name,
honorary hot dogger name, so I can give you one if you'd like.
Really? Wait,
yeah, let's think.
I had
I'm thinking like the first one that comes to mind is Roasted Dog Riley.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you're into that one. I would give you Relish Riley, but my partner's Relish Rachel.
Yeah,
so.
I don't want to steal it from her.
Or we could do Smiley Riley because Miles of Smiles. So Smiley Riley's also.
So my last question is, what has been your favorite moment thus far, and what are you looking forward to doing, and what have you learned about yourself throughout the whole process? So it's 3 questions.
Oh my gosh.
3 questions and a last question.
It's a lot of big ones too. My favorite moment, so we like to say that we have like these moments where we just kind of zoom out and like realize what we're doing and like how lucky we are to be, you know, doing this and meeting so many people and having such an incredible time. Mm-hmm. And so I'd say I'll give you my 2 like top 2 moments. So one of them was when I was leading that lap around the racetrack and the race cars were all following me. I just had this moment where I was like, is this like actually my life? Like, is this what I get to do on a day-to-day basis? So it was, that was super, super cool to realize that like, I'll never get this experience again. And it was so much fun. And then last night, actually, I had a really awesome moment because, you know, it gets kind of like melancholic when you leave a city just because you've grown accustomed to it. Mm-hmm. And so we were driving down this like beautiful canyon mountainside in Colorado. And we're going like super slow. And when we go super slow, we sometimes stand out of the bun roof here.
Mhm.
So I had the bun roof off. I was listening to like one of my favorite songs ever. And I just like had my arms out the window and it was, or out of the bun roof. And it was just like such a cool, like transcendent moment also where I was like, this is so awesome. So if you've seen like Perks of Being a Wallflower, I don't know if you are
Yes,
familiar with
yes.
the movie, but when they're in the back of the pickup truck and they're like, I feel infinite, I was like, I feel infinite right now. I'm just looking forward to like seeing personal growth and like also in my coworkers. So seeing kind of change and growth throughout this year and like where it takes us. Because I think that this job definitely gives a lot of room for like self-improvement and like self-realization, being like, this is what it's like, this is what I'm like after a year on the road, meeting all these people and doing all these crazy things. How have I become better? So that'll be really cool to see. And also seeing how our relationship continues to grow, because and then like winners and regions, because Rachel and I are the South team, or like seeing who else I'm going to get to foster this really, really, really close relationship with. Though I will be sad to leave Rachel, and it'll be a bit of separation anxiety for sure. But yeah,
I'm so excited. I really, really hope that you guys like come to New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania. Even if it's like 3 hours away, drive out wherever it is, because I'm so excited to see you. And really I've been watching on Instagram for now like 2 weeks now. Like I'm like, I need to go see this. I don't think I've ever seen it in person. Actually, I think I might have passed it like one time, but like I want to like stand under it, like take the picture, and then I'll be like, oh my god, like I literally know the girl. Then bring like all my friends, be like, we have to go, like go do this. And what's that movie?
Yeah,
Santa Claus, Wiener Whistle. That's when I was introduced to the Wiener Whistle. He was saying in the movie that was like what he wanted since like he was a little kid. And ever since then, I want a Wiener Whistle. And now I know someone that I could literally be like, please have a Wiener Whistle.
Yeah, I can definitely hook you up. I try to post my schedule though, so maybe sometime we'll just our paths will cross, because I would love to see you again too.
I will try and go there wherever you are. One of the things I'm looking forward to in quarantine is to be able to see you at one point this year. Like go take a picture in front of me.
Oh my god.
So this is what I think I texted you this. So this position is for people that just graduated college, right? It's like right after.
So we actually have two hot doggers. One of them graduated like 2 years ago, and one of them just finished her master's. So I think recent graduate is can be interpreted in various ways. Okay. So I would definitely encourage people, including yourself, because I think you'd be awesome at it, to apply, you know, even post-grad and see what happens. Because you can apply externally. You don't have to just get recruited at schools. Just find a way to, you know, apply in a creative manner and stand out, and, you know, hopefully you hear back from them.